motion to approve the amended appropriations by fund for fiscal year 2020-2021 as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Mrs. Blackman?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Penn?
Yes.
6.02, a donation from Ray Russell and family. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to, first I'd like to read a letter from Ray Russell, Mr. Ray Russell and family. Please accept this letter as notice that Raymond R. Russell, Ray, would like to make a $50,000 donation to the school district that should be used to purchase and install a video message board to be installed in front of Jonathan Alder High School. On approval of this project by the Board of Education, funds will be presented to the board for use to help with costs involved with the project. This letter is being submitted by Rod Russell, his son, and Nancy Patterson, daughter, on Dad's behalf. Having lost our mother, Jean Russell, a year ago in September, we spoke with Dad and requested that he help fund this project in honor of his mom's longtime support of all things related to Jonathan Alder School District. We look forward to hearing from you upon approval and acceptance of this letter. I'm very grateful for this, and I would, if you have, we've also shared with you the initial specs of that design. Mr. Fennick has been working with the family, with Rod here for the past several months, and would like to move this forward. And to move it forward, we would just need this initial approval to accept those funds and then begin that design and implementation, and then also installation as well. Mr. Fennick, anything else to add with that, at least right now, where we are?
The only thing the family really wants to do is try to do it as quickly as possible, because evidently Ray is not doing real well. And they come up and see him once every 2 weeks. He's here in Plain City. They'd like to bring him out and show him the sign, and that's their goal.
Do you know how long it will take to do, I mean, what would be an estimate?
You know, from the time we get started and ordered, a month, maybe 2 months, I'm not exactly sure. It all depends if the ground freezes or not. There's going to be some boring that needs to be done to get electric out there and those types of things.
This will help us get it going. We'll bring back more designs, that type of thing too. We've been working with electricians and also engineers as well. So
Maybe we could, I don't know, it would be okay, but it'd be nice to have him come here so we could thank him too, if it would be possible.
that's what we would like to do, is have the family and hopefully and Mr. Russell as well. And coordinate the completion. Groundbreaking or after completion.
Great, great.
Could I have a motion to approve the donation of $50,000 from Raymond Russell and family to design, purchase, and install a video message board in front of Jonathan Alder High School?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Mrs. Blackman?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Cross?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Board reports. Tolls update.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I didn't say that before, and a little change in the agenda here as far as the items are concerned. So, but yes, tolls report. Mr. Votal has just shared with you, submitted his letter of resignation. I'm sorry, Mr. Bixel has.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Definitely, you're paying attention. He submitted his letter of resignation as the Jonathan Alder representative to the Tolls Career Technical Center Board of Ed. That would be effective on January 1. What I've provided you would be Mrs. Beeson, the superintendent of Tolls, her letter as well, notifying us that she would like to have a JA appointed board member to Tolls by their January 17 meeting. So right now, what I'm informing you of, and we have some work to do as far as one, there's two options that you have. We can appoint a current sitting Jonathan Alder board member, one of you, or we could accept applications for a community member to sit on that board as well. So, and the board would those are the two options that we have. I included the application in there. I also included the resolution that we would have to approve in January upon selection of the appointment to that board seat, that open seat. So, any preferences as far as the board is concerned on this? Any questions that you might have as we work through this?
Traditionally, has it been a board member?
It used to be many, many years consecutively, but then what has happened in recent years is, I think about 5 years ago, it changed in procedures there at the state level where local boards could appoint a community member to the tolls of the vocational board of education. So there's some options there.
I think they wanted it to be a business.
They did. If you look at the application, it gives you those criteria as far as what their experiences might be.
It's not something that's required, right?
No, it is not. So, we could take a little bit of time over the next couple of weeks and talk about it, see which way, direction you want to go, if anybody might be interested here first. I know Mrs. Beeson would prefer a sitting board member to fill that seat, just because of the understanding of both districts, intricacies of that all would be involved as far as board membership is concerned. Okay? We'll be talking to you as well, moving forward.
And I think it worked well this past year with Tom being there and sending reports back to us, so
It did.
it was fine for us to have a community member.
That is an option.
And on to superintendent's report, please.
Okay. As far as superintendent's report tonight, as you can tell, return to school, I have that on there as a topic for our education plans, pathways, and decision framework. And before we go much further here, I would like to thank all of our administrators, our teachers, and staff. Give you some information here. We've received a lot of compliments on the remote learning structure, the schedule, and the daily connections that our students have been receiving with our teachers, and that's been a positive. So all the work that went into that is noted and appreciated. Our food service, transportation department has been providing and delivering grab-and-go meals. In November, we were in hybrid. We had 14 serving days in November. We served a daily average of 1,071 reimbursable meals. That'd be breakfast and lunch. 1,071 on a daily basis, that was the average. In December, we will have, and we're 100% remote, as you know. As of Friday, we were averaging 785 reimbursable meals. That's breakfast and lunch per day. So, and again, there's 14 serving days in December, so that's not too bad considering that we're 100% remote. And then they have established, they being the food service department, has established different locations for individuals to pick up those grab-and-go meals in the morning, and then also on school premises from 11 to 1 at all buildings except the high school, I believe. So, again, nice work there, trying to make the best out of it as they possibly can. Last week, too, late in the week, we finally received our shipment of 206 Chromebooks that were ordered in August, so that was significant as well. These Chromebooks were paid for through the CARES Act and also federal grant funding, so pleased to announce that as well. And if you've had a chance to see some large semi-trailer storage containers on each school premises, that's an effort to create space and ensure social distancing protocols. What we're doing there is we are asking our building principals, our teachers, the staff to use those storage containers to remove student desks, tables, chairs, and other furniture from our classroom and buildings, just so we can create that space and ensure that 6 feet social distancing that is required. So as you can tell, we continue to plan, we continue to prepare for our buildings and classrooms for all pre-K through 12 students to return to Pathway 1B, hybrid plan beginning Monday, January 4th. so you know too, the county superintendents have an update scheduled for next Monday, December 21, with Mr. Cook of the Madison County Health Department. Our plan is to communicate any updates and our changes regarding the status of our return no later than Wednesday, December 23rd. So we would like to communicate to our community as far as to confirm or any type of changes with that going to hybrid on January 4th. We, over that time, over this next week and a half, will continue to monitor the conditions at the state level, county level, local level, as of, and just some COVID data. As of this afternoon, we currently have 10 active COVID cases, and we have 31 students and staff in quarantine. When we went into Thanksgiving break, we had 11 cases with 121 in quarantine. Now, I want to emphasize this, and I'm just going to read, per the decision framework, maintaining appropriate staffing levels are critical to be able to provide for the health and safety of our staff and students. The type of pathway engaged may be dependent upon student, teacher, and staff COVID-19 absenteeism and access to appropriately licensed subs. So again, we continue to monitor that decision framework both at the state level with the alert level systems, at the county level with the Madison County Health Department, but also now paying particular attention to our local school building classroom data. And again, that's what we talked about on December 4th, is the flexibility and being able to move depending upon what's happening here in our school buildings related to COVID. Now, I'd like to also, as you recall, during the December 4th emergency meeting, I believe the board, you asked us to brainstorm ideas or options outside of our 3 pathways. We did spend quite a bit of time. We had produced a 3-page document of brainstorming ideas and options. Some were good, some not so good. And what we came out with and what we would like to at least explore with you tonight and see where you are with it would be a variation to our hybrid plan, our hybrid pathway, which would possibly allow for our pre-K through 4th grade students to attend 5 days a week through an A-B schedule. Group A students, in other words, Group A students would attend in the mornings, and all B students would attend in the afternoon, 5 days a week. Transportation, right now, is the first thing we latched on to. We would provide transportation and work through the logistics of that quite a bit with that one. Also looking at them probably not having recess, because the students would be there half a day, not have recess, provide those grab-and-go meals as they go home in the morning and in the afternoon. That's the concept of it right now. We would like to begin exploring this. We've not talked about it with teachers yet at this point, or anyone else. Wanted to at least run it by you as a board and share that as a possible option to see if we would want us to continue to go down that path and explore.
I definitely would like you to continue to explore that very idea. Again, at that point, to some degree, we keep it to stay through 4 kids in every day. That's the direction we want to go. It's only a half a day, but it's just a step in the right direction. I think it gets them in front of a teacher every day. So I'd like us to pursue that personally.
Well, and I think one thing that we need to keep repeating is that the difference between where we were in August with the health orders and where we are today, and the reason why, right? Because, like you and I talked about earlier today, earlier in the year, it was a 3-foot minimum with a recommended 6-foot. And where we are today, it's a required 6-foot, and we cannot have 100% of kids in the building. Correct?
That is correct.
If I understood correctly.
It would be difficult to make, it's almost impossible to maintain 6 feet social distancing with 100% of our students in the classroom. Our classrooms are big enough, our rosters are too big. That's a challenge, and that's why you're seeing us moving furniture out right now.
Gary, I'd like to at least thank you for looking at other alternatives to this. I don't know whether this will work or not, but we gotta explore every avenue we can. It may be completely out of our comfort zone as we think about it, but because we're dealing with something that's completely out of our comfort zone, we may need a solution that's, doesn't seem, to be considered a normal situation. This isn't normal.
We'll get to work on it. Sure we'll be in conversation here, but obviously we have a lot of work to do in the next 4 days to see if this is a possibility, and how this will possibly work. So, that's what I'm bringing to you.
What do you think is the biggest challenge? Is it busing? Is that your
I believe so. Again, we haven't heard from all people that would make this work. So as soon as I say it out there, throw it out there, I'm sure people are already starting to churn is what will be the big stops. So we look at transportation is one, and we have gone as far as a potential cost. With transportation, just so you know, we might be looking at anywhere from $17,000 to $20,000 per month to do that. That's initial estimates. They may be high. I'd rather throw out a high number rather than a low number there. But obviously, opportunity costs, and to do different things like this, yeah, it may cost us. But I think we need to be upfront with that as well. And one of the things too, we obviously talked about is we don't want to create any more inconsistency and those unexpected changes and that type of thing. But there again too, I think what Mr. Faust said, we have to explore all options, and this one right now appears to be it could be a viable option within that pathway one year.
And it's pre-K to 4th grade.
Did I say that or not?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Can you explain why it's not 5 through 12?
Well, 5 through 6 creates a different, it's a different dynamic based on their structure and their schedule, because they do change classes during the day. They go from different teachers, so it's not as clean cut with that A-B grouping. And also, to be honest with you, transportation becomes a little bit bigger of an obstacle as well, because as far as really just on how we're structured the time. So is there a possibility we could eventually move to that? I would take more time, but I think we could explore that. But again, just based on their schedule structure, I'm not sure. I think that'd be challenging for a teacher there to make a program at that level.
So 5 through 12 would be AB Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, the pathway, they remain that same hybrid schedule that they had prior to the Any questions? Thank you.
I am on to item number 9, curriculum and instruction.
So a few different types of topics this evening. The first one, you have the high school 21-22 course planning handbook for draft, obviously for first reading. At this time, there's only one real change in the handbook, adding a new course for Project Lead the Way. If you remember, 2 years ago, we came to you with the Project Lead the Way biomedical science program. And so there's a new course each year for that. So next year's new course would be medical interventions. And if you remember the way that course is structured, it's a hands-on, kind of real-world scenario where you start the year with a medical problem and you kind of investigate that throughout the entire year. So the students who would be entering that class have already completed the principles of biomedical science and then the human body systems, and so this would be the third course in that pathway. So right now, that is the only new course and the only major change in the high school handbook. There may be a few other changes coming before the January meeting. We have a few other meetings, some things we need to talk about and look through. And then also, if you recall, it was about this time last year, we brought you the Ashland Partnership for College Credit Plus, and we had listed the business pathway. We weren't able to get that started this year. We didn't have enough students. We sort of kind of, COVID hit right around scheduling time. So we decided to go ahead and hold off one more year for that business pathway so that we can develop it more and find out, is that really the pathway that meets our needs? With that, there are some major changes coming. You'll be hearing about this time next year with math curriculum. So the Ohio Department of Education and Department of Higher Ed are changing math pathways, tying it more to workforce development and careers. And so we will have to develop new math pathways, and that business, pathway with Ashland may or may not fit. We still will be waiting on Department of Higher Ed and Department of Education for some of those items. So stay tuned, and then you'll approve the course handbook, and if we have the other changes, we will let you know. So that is for high school. The next item I have is third grade. Third grade, we were still required to do testing this fall. So I provided you our test results and a historical look at our third grade test results. And will we test in the spring? We don't know. The legislature in Ohio has asked for testing to be put on hold this spring, but because many of these tests are tied to the federal government, it would take the Secretary of Education at the federal level to grant that waiver. So we will see what happens with that. You will notice a drop in test scores for third grade, reading. That drop is consistent with many other districts in the area. But it's still a drop, and it's still something we need to be concerned with. As we review and really look at that, the one area that we see a drop in is our writing scores. That's kind of the biggest drop. But it's also going to be the easiest area to target for those students to score those points if we have to have this test again in the spring. So because when we look at how students either scored or didn't score, it's an easy fix for many teachers to teach the skills for the writing. Because again, this test they take in October, it's an end of third grade test. And that's why students have two opportunities for passing. So as you look through, you can see kind of, really the last, 5-6 years, where we've been, where we are, and also understanding that, we haven't had school full time since, really last March. So questions, comments on third grade reading?
There's no doubt there's going to be impact from all of this, and at some point, we're going to have to measure the impact, assess it, and put a plan in place to get everybody caught up. That's what's going to happen, because that's, but thank you for this information.
So we don't know what the state's going to say about holding those third graders back if they don't.
We do not, so we will not have to hold anybody back. We'll use our own internal metrics.
Okay.
So, in the past, third grade reading guarantee, you had to hit these scores.
Right.
And then if you didn't hit the state scores, we have MAP testing, we have other approved tests. We do not have to use assessment scores in order to determine if you're promoted to fourth grade this year. So we will use our own internal metrics for that promotion to fourth grade, yes. That flexibility we do have.
Good.
All right, the last item, and I am sorry for the late notice. You should have probably seen this earlier, except my meeting was at noon today. So I mentioned to you, I think it was in October, about a Girls Tech Day with Amazon Web Services, and we were trying to really promote that. And I said we really wanted to promote it because there was a possibility for a partnership. Well, Amazon sent me a message on Friday saying they wanted to meet today and have a proposal or draft by 5:30 this evening. So that's what you have in front of you right now. Amazon Web Services is going to build a Jonathan Alder Community Think Big space. And they have guaranteed for the first round $100,000 for us to convert a room in our high school that will then be used for K-12 education. I'm like, what's that look for? So K-12 education, so that our elementary students will take field trips to the space, and that it'll be used for technology integration, maker space, learning coding, robotics. And then the idea is that from the field trip, we will provide like resource kits to the teacher, and they'll continue that work back in their classroom. And then the next quarter, they'll come back and they'll get phase 2, and this will continue. So the concept and the idea is that every student at Jonathan Alder will be rotating in and out of our Think Big space. At the high school level, we want to tailor what we're doing in this Think Big space to the new math pathways that the state has created. And again, it's more for workforce development. So the state currently has every student needs to take Algebra 2 and pass Algebra 2. And then many of our students obviously go into calculus, pre-calculus, calculus. But depending upon a career path, you may not need calculus, pre-calculus. But the workforce development is asking for more classes in quantitative reasoning and data science. So we will also utilize this space to have all the tools and resources for logistics and data science and statistics probability and the visual representation of those classes. We then will be able to open the space and have it open for community involvement so that we will have maker days where parents and students can come together and utilize the resources for Maker Day. Amazon Web Services, as you know, they're expanding in our area. They will be sending mentors to the district. They want to work with our students, and they want to mentor like in the space, like teaching them what are these tools, how do we use these in our workplace. They also, again, this will be an ongoing project. So they will take the room, they will brand it, they will furnish it, they will provide all of the resources for the room. And then we'll keep revisiting, so what's next? What comes next? I know it's hard to conceptualize, so I asked Mrs. Schrock. I have a video of the first Think Big space at the elementary level. So this should hopefully give us a little idea.
You seen the video?
Yep.
All right. Let me ready?
Yep, yeah, we're ready.
Well, time now 6:14, and ABC7 told you about a new partnership with Amazon and Prince William County Schools during our back-to-school coverage. Well, today, we're on your side with an
Can you make it full screen by chance?
into the first ever Amazon Think Big space that opened for students earlier this week in Woodbridge, Virginia. A big day for Prince William County Schools. The world's first Think Big space is now open at River Oaks Elementary in Woodbridge, Virginia.
This is truly amazing to be on the cutting edge, world's first Think Big space, and have these kids so excited about it.
Yeah. The Think Big space is a partnership with Amazon Web Services that encourages students to think big by using a growth mindset to solve problems and prepare for jobs that don't exist.
They all look like toys. Yeah. But we actually use them to build robots. A robot that can move with wheels.
We want to give them an opportunity here, and because you never know whether you have the next Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or Jeff Bezos here. As long as they have an opportunity, you never know.
The space provides an environment where children will have opportunities to push the boundaries of innovation and technology by utilizing 3D printers, drones, and Kindles with augmented reality.
So what is this big thing right here? That's the nucleus, and it's the brain of the cell.
Fifth grade students at River Oaks are learning about plant and animal cells, so they showed me how their paper renderings come to life through the use of the 3D technology.
This is hands-on learning.
Other schools on the eastern side of the county will get to utilize the Think Big space and all the STEAM-related activities available to think big.
We want to let them know that with creativity, anything's possible as long as they have an opportunity and a chance.
But you don't want to go basic. You want to go out with your creativity. There is no box.
From the mouths of babes right there, that was Eileen Whalen reporting. I mean, that was just remarkable what they are doing these days.
It's so funny because I just said what they're learning. Ivan corrected me and said it's how they're learning.
How?
That is so different.
Whole new frontier.
Yeah.
I want to be a kid.
I know.
So I want
Let's
to
go
learn
back to
about
school.
all kinds of technology.
So if you look at our proposal, you can see on here, obviously, we want to cycle our students through. We also, again, the person from Amazon, they will be calling it the world's first community Think Big Space. That's important to them because they haven't done what they call a community, so that we'll have the, again, evening community activities. And then you'll see that what we will have to contribute, we will contribute an instructor. So we will contribute one teacher, one instructor, and that person will be trained from Amazon Web Services. They'll be trained and also helping us figure out what resources we want in the room. I did take a tour today to Hilliard at 3 o'clock, so I met with Amazon at noon, and they have done, I think, Big Space in Hilliard to look at what resources and what technology they have. The Hilliard space looks very different than the elementary space. Theirs is more right now, some business, some entrepreneurship, the creating of different products that they eventually would like to market and be able to sell. I took Mr. Hayes with me today because we want the space to be in the high school, and he already started thinking about how much money we could save with awards and creating medals and plaques and designing different items. So there are so many possibilities, and obviously we have some work to do, but they will have the donation to us by the end of December. And then with the goal of having our grand opening in August.
Why did you choose us? Is all schools gonna eventually have this, is it just?
They are pinpointing locations where they're creating more jobs and where they're bringing,
That's what I wondered,
their,
if it was related to.
yeah, their data hubs where they're, you know, so I think that's why, you know, they want one in this area. You know, so why us? I can't say 100% other than we took the call, and I've worked with their community development person a few times. I just didn't know when it was coming, and I didn't know what our timeline would be, so.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, so when they called on Friday and said, we're in with Jonathan Alder, if you can do it by the end of December, and we can do, yeah, I can have a proposal ready by, you know, but Friday. So, again, there'll be more to this. I mean, you know, this is part one. The workforce component is a big component for them. So we have talked with Tolles. We'll be talking with Columbus State about some certifications and different items that we may be able to have for students and or community members. So, yeah.
That's good.
Yep, so that's what I've been working on today.
Great. Thank you.
Is there also ongoing support afterwards, so it's?
Oh, this is round one, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so when the first round, again, will be $100,000. And for the districts and the people they've partnered with, they continue to support and build. So like, for instance, today, they met with me, gave us our allocation, and then they called Hilliard and gave them a second allocation to, you know, continue. So.
That's great. Nice work.
Great, thank you. Okay, item 10, public comments and commendations. We are going to start with the full commendations this evening. Bear with me as we come in, these wonderful athletes, it's great. We're going to start with boys cross-country honors. We've got a couple first team CBCs, Brady Corbett, Colin McDaniel, and Jonas Watkins. Second team CBC for boys cross-country, Sergey Dutt, Luke Good, and Matthew Perky. And special mention goes to Will Jackson and Brady Tremaine. And sportsmanship award for Caleb Freihoff. Girls cross-country honors. Maddie Davis is first team CBC and all Central District. We've also got Reagan Gray at first team CBC, Morgan Hicks first team CBC, and she was an individual Central District champion and all Ohio. She placed 12th in the state. We've also got Evie McDaniel, who is first team CBC, Eliza Street, first team CBC and all Central District, Avery Wink, first team CBC. Two second team CBC award winners, Kate Curtis and Emma Kennedy. And Maggie Malone got the Sportsmanship Award for girls cross country in CBC. Boys golf honors. We've got some first team CBC award winners, Brady Fox, Matthew Fox, and Tyler Ogg. Also special mention CBC and Sportsmanship Award for CBC goes to Brandon Garbeck. And Nick Sowers was a special mention for CBC. Girls golf honors. Maggie Matessa was first team CBC. Second team CBC goes to Rachel Hooley, Olivia McCoy, who also got Sportsmanship Award for CBC, and Sydney Miller was also second team. Katie Lemaster as a special mention in the CBC for girls golf. Football honors. All right, Jackson Izzard, CBC Player of the Year, first team CBC, Central District Player of the Year, first team Central District, and first team All-Ohio. JT Keith, CBC Player of the Year, first team CBC, first team Central District, and second team All-Ohio. We've also got some other first team CBC award winners, Will Heisler, Jonathan Keith, Chase Maynard, and Logan Shapley. Those boys also received Central District recognition as well, either first or second team. Jackson Bennett was second team CBC and honorable mention in Central District. Hunter Hardesty, second team CBC and special mentions Central District. Tyson Mast, second team CBC, special mention Central District. Some other CBC second team award winners were Andrew McLaughlin, Dylan Miller, Denver Petersheim, Alex Schrock. We've also got some other awards for those boys, honorable mentions in Central District, second team, special mentions. Alec was also an honorable mention All-Ohio award winner. Kyle Kidd was a special mention in the CBC, and Brecken Francis was Sportsmanship Award winner for the CBC. Boys soccer honors. Camden Herrig was first team CBC, first team Central District, and second team All-Ohio. Alan Santos, first team CBC and third team Central District. Second team award winners for CBC were Noah Allen and Matt Schertzer. Special mention CBC went to Dominic Toller, and Eli Thorpe was the Sportsmanship Award winner for boys soccer. Girls soccer honors. Katie Hooley was the CBC Player of the Year, first team CBC and first team Central District. Emma Rector, first team CBC, second team Central District. Also some other second team CBC award winners were Kenna Cronover, Madison Ice, and Emily Pickle Antonio. Alex Shaw was a special mention in CBC, and Elena Winslow got the Sportsmanship Award for CBC. Girls tennis honors. First team award winners for CBC are Abigail Watkins, Eliza Watkins, Allie Craig, and Maddie Wilson. Second team CBC to Chloe Sullivan. Special mention for CBC, Georgie Wheeler. And Sportsmanship Award winners, we have Ella Sloat and Molly Stevens. Volleyball honors for this fall. Division II Coach of the Year went to Joe Ross. Ava Francis was the CBC Player of the Year, first team CBC, Central District Player of the Year, first team Central District, and first team All-Ohio. Emma Shepard, first team CBC, first team Central District, and third team All-Ohio. Kennedy Izzard, second team CBC, second team Central District. Lizzie Lombardi, second team CBC and honorable mention in Central District. Special mention in CBC also went to Ellen Kennedy, and Katie Stroke was the Sportsmanship Award winner for the CBC. Congratulations to all of those student athletes. Way to go. Good job. On to public comments. We've received 4 different notices of people who'd like to speak this evening. So we've just got them numbered as far as how you filled them out this evening. Just to remind you, it's a 3-minute duration of the maximum of what you can allow for you this evening, and 15 minutes is our maximum on this, on any one topic. So we will start with Mr. Tyler Harriman.
Hello, I'll be brief. As you guys will probably hear about the back to school or return to plan option. It's glad to hear that we're looking at the K through 4 going 5 day a week. I know that's what Dublin's program's on, splitting up A, B. I have a 2nd grader, 6th grader, so my experience is going to be the elementary and Canaan. The Canaan going 100% online for us has been a lot better than on the hybrid option. When we were on the 1B hybrid, being in school was great, but the 3 days of here's a syllabus, do it, watch these videos. My son would do about 2 hours of work, come downstairs and say, I'm done for the day. We'd find out, hey, did you do this or this? Oh no, I didn't see that. So we had a lot of, missing stuff, getting emails from teachers, double checking, and fights from that. Having a set schedule of the 10 periods now is nice. He knows he gets on at this time. He's done at this time. Talking with him, he likes it because, hey, I'm with my teacher the entire time, or we get 10 minutes of instruction with the teacher and then do my work for the next 10 minutes or however the period breaks down. So the 100% remote has been a lot better for him than being on the hybrid option. If we did the hybrid option, it would be nice to have somewhat of that set schedule. I don't know if they can be in the classroom on camera so they can still follow along or have some kind of rotation, but having that schedule has really been more beneficial for him than being on the hybrid option. So we've enjoyed actually, for him being older, being on the remote option than the hybrid. Now that's just me, I'm not representing Canaan Middle School or all of that. The elementary side, my daughter loves school, but being on the computer is a fight. It was fun at first, but she needs to be online. I know they do about 3, I think the schedule now is about 3 hours with specials and everything, but between internet issues or computers unmuting, muting, trying to get that done, and endless runs of fishy crackers up and down the stairs, I mean, she's only getting about half of that time of any learning, and it's just, she's a bright kid, but I mean, she's just being hurt by not being in the classroom. She needs the social interaction, and she needs the focus of being in a classroom, not being, in a bedroom or a dining room with all the other distractions. So as we get going back in, I mean, getting the K through 4, pre-K through 4, any option of them being in the classroom really needs to be what needs to happen. I mean, we cannot continue this kids being home. I mean, 2nd grade, 1st grade and 2nd grade, she's missed out on 2 years of school. So I mean, in the elementary, she's only had 1 year of actual 5-day-a-week learning. So we know we're going to be on this at least through the rest of the school year. I mean, they're not going to return, this year, and who knows what next fall will be. So we need to come up with a good solution that's going to last, for till May, and who knows what fall will be. But really getting our younger ones back in the classroom really needs to be a priority.
Thank you. Diana McCoy.
Hello, I'm Diana McCoy. I have a senior here at John and Alder, Olivia McCoy, and I believe I wanted to speak on the mental health of what I'm experiencing through our daughter and also some of her close friends. And I do know some of you probably have read the letter that Olivia composed. I would like to read it just to have an impact on some of the people that are here that haven't had a chance to read it. And I was going to come with statistics and all of that, but I believe that we all know that COVID definitely is playing on the mental health of our children. Dear school board members, it's painful every day I log on to my Zoom class that I am faced with the fact that I am constantly losing the small amount of precious time left to be around my close peers and the teachers I admire. We all can agree that interactions across the screen are nowhere near the same as the ones face to face. So it's heartbreaking to see how distant my peers and I have become. We have learned, grown, and created a camaraderie together that we didn't fully realize until now. It's hard to feel connected to your community over a screen, even as we say, in this together, JA. It's heartbreaking knowing that every day I have lost valuable memories and experiences of my high school and especially my senior year. That every day I can't laugh with my friends and teachers in class, share stories and ideas, feel that I am part of a larger community. What is just as difficult to face is the valuable education that I am also missing. Outside of this pandemic, the world will still require the same skills and knowledge as it did before. But as hard as my teachers work to prepare me during this time, it is nowhere near to what they could have done with the proper resources and learning style. My depth of learning and understanding has greatly diminished. We are not held to the same standards now, but will be outside of school, in our future careers and in college. Learning environments in homes are not suitable. Homes that struggle and ones that do not, they all still provide large obstacles. There are major distractions anywhere, and even in the silence, students struggle to stay focused for hours on end of schoolwork within their own home. There are siblings that need attention and offer their own pestering problems, and parents who mean well, but see these students' school time as more malleable to other schedules. All these disruptions would not be possible with more time at school. It is easy to tell us that we all just need to buckle down and work through this, but we all have our limits. We do get burned out, and it's important that we stay happy and mentally healthy. Hours in front of a screen and staring at paper without interactions and group work with peers is not the best interest of mental health. Students I have known to have so much vigor and motivation for school, learning, and relationships have plummeted into a place where they recede into themselves and do the minimal amount of work to get by. The varying and important nuances and dynamics of learning in school have been stripped from us, and every day it grows more painful and the damage is more apparent. Olivia McCoy, Jonathan Alder, class of 2021. I thank the school board for working really hard through this whole COVID pandemic and the administration. I would like to say that our goal at the McCoy household is we would love to see traditional school come back. If that is not an option, I would like to have the school board and Mr. Chapman, Mr. Hayes, look at other options for the high school kids. For example, Olivia goes, if we go back hybrid, Olivia will go because of the McCoy Thursday, Friday. She has consistently said since hybrid has come about that she feels the Thursday, Friday have always been trying to play catch up with the Monday, Tuesday. Some of her high school teachers have even said that they understand this. So what if we explored something like, if there are students that need another day, can you accommodate the student saying, hey, I know I'm a Thursday, Friday child, can I come on Tuesday? You know, is there any way we can accommodate that type of number of kids, if we can look at it that way for the high school? So that being said, mental health is really hard for these high school kids. I have spoke with some of the kids, and they have expressed to me that their peers they've seen each other use substances. Some are abusing substances more. They talk of feelings of hopelessness, and it's really hard. And so I just implore you to look at traditional school, maybe other options if hybrid is what makes sense at this time, is to get the kids in high school. She's missing out on so many things, and she loves school. She loves her community here, and she adores the teachers, and she wants to get back in the building as often as she can. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Hicks.
I just thank you for your time to speak to the board tonight, administration. I'm a nurse. My husband is an advanced practice nurse. I take very seriously this COVID pandemic. And at the same time, the proper public education of our children is also very serious. And currently, they are not receiving a proper public education, particularly our young students. Currently, my youngest child is receiving home instruction. because the remote learning in the spring was not able to accommodate him. He was receiving special accommodations under 504, and all of the springtime was just so anxiety provoking for him, it was actually inhibiting his learning. And I'm hopeful that he can return to in-person education in our community schools. I'm happy to hear Mr. Chapman about some other creative options and pathways for regular in-person education. Our teachers are just a vital part of the health and development of our kids in this community, and our students need to be in contact with them as regularly as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. And Sonia Walker.
Thank you. I have 2 children in the school district right now, and I'm also an attorney, although what I'm about to say is not legal advice. I did want to address some of the concerns that I have heard in speaking to some of the board members and Mr. Chapman about civil and criminal liability, as well as insurance coverage that this school potentially could face when they're making considerations about being back in school full-time. Now, sitting here at today's meeting and listening to the emergency board meeting, there's no question that everybody in this room wants kids to be going full-time. Now, recognizing that children are best served by in-person schooling, the state legislature enacted a bill earlier this year to help schools do that. House Bill 606 grants immunity to school districts for civil cases involving transmission of COVID-19. And the legislator didn't just grant immunity. The legislator placed in the bill a prohibition for using health department orders to establish the standard of care. Now, I've also reviewed the school district's insurance policy, and it appears that a defense of COVID-19 cases was added as an amendment to your policy. So I would encourage this board to talk with your attorneys and to evaluate the district's insurance policy and the impact of House Bill 606's immunity provisions. As to criminal liability for refusing to follow health department orders, what orders exactly are the concerns? I went on to the Ohio Department of Health website, and every single order posted by the Ohio Department of Health is listed. There is currently one order that's impacting schools, and that's the mask mandate. As to the local health department orders, that hasn't been so easy. Madison County does not clearly post the orders on its website. In fact, on December 2nd, 2020, Madison County Health Department issued a public information release, basically a press release, rescinding all orders but one, and that is the order forbidding community events. Everything else appears to be a recommendation or an advisory. So the district has insurance coverage, the district is immune from civil liability. What orders exactly are preventing this district from in-person classes? Is it the inability to 6 foot socially distance? If so, is that 6 foot social distance an order or an advisory? Can some of our school buildings handle 6 foot social distancing, allowing, say, elementary students to return in school? I'm asking that this board go back to the attorneys. Ask about the enforceability of the Madison County Health Department recommendations versus orders. Seek proof in writing that the 6 foot social distancing is an actual order. And then go back to the Madison County Health Commissioner and ask that he provide evidence that closing schools slows the spread and lessens the impact on our healthcare system. Do not just accept assumptions, but demand the evidence. We have elected you as board members, and we're placing our trust in you to make the best decision for our children based on facts. We know that you all have a very difficult job to do, but they are your decisions to be made. Thank you.
I think you all have presented very valid things, and we appreciate everyone's input. Gives us some thinking to do, obviously. And with our treasurer leaving and going to his next meeting, I will be acting as treasurer pro tem for the remainder of the meeting. staff as presented. Roll call, Mrs. Blaca, yes. Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Votel?
Yes.
12.02, any discussion regarding the revised extracurricular pay rate?
This is just a revision to include live streaming, to pay whoever might be live streaming at the event. If you would also go, you can also go and look and compare the new rates with previous rates, and they have also been adjusted, of course, because with hometown ticketing, the amount of time on task, the jobs have changed as far as accepting cash, events, and obviously the online piece has changed a lot of those things, so we've adjusted those accordingly.
I have a motion to approve the revised extracurricular pay rates for live streaming of events and activities effective December 14th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Blaca, yes. Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Votel?
Yes.
12.03, any discussion regarding the leave of absence request? I have a motion to approve the unpaid leave of absence from December 9th to 23rd, 2020 for Chris Cooper, the Monroe High School custodian.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Blaca, yes. Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Votel?
Yes.
New business, the course handbook for the high school. Got a draft in our board sites. Review that before next meeting.
Any changes should also be highlighted for you. So as you're going through there, you'll see changes in a different color font.
13.02, do we have any discussion regarding board member for Plain City Public Library? We just have to do it because they're part of our.
We serve as their board.
Could I have a motion to approve Mr. Tom Miller as board member to the Plain City Public Library as presented?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Blaca, yes. Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
And Mr. Votel?
Yes.
13.02, could I have a motion to approve the Superintendent Chapman to attend the Certified Public Records Training as the board's designee, fulfilling the requirements under ORC Section 109.3B?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Blaca, yes. Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Votel?
Yes.
13.04, a resolution. Any discussion regarding the resolution for the income tax renewal?
This is just the second of two resolutions that we are required to submit here. We have part of the taxation, and we talked about that last month. We'll be talking a lot more about this as we get into January, February.
I have a motion to approve the resolution determining to proceed with the proposition of a renewal income tax as presented.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Blaca, yes. Mrs. Boyd? Yes. Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Votel?
Yes.
Okay, our next regular board meeting and organizational board meeting will be on Monday, January 11th, here at the high school library. Time. Stick with 5:30.
You want to stay at 5:30? In the past, we have moved it up to the organizational meeting. You want to stay at 5:30?
requesting a temporary chairperson for the January 11th meeting.
So historically, it's been the past chair, so I would nominate Chris, you to be president pro tem.
I'm second
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so could I have a, or do we just need to roll call that one? Okay. Mrs. Blackett? Yes. Mrs. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
And Mr. Voigtall?
Yes.
Could I have a motion to adjourn the December 2024 meeting of the Jonathan Alder Board of Education? Roll call, Mrs. Blackett? Yes. Mrs. Boyd? Yes. Mr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Voigtall?
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Very
Thank you, guys.